I want to use today's video to give you guys a bit of an update on some changes that have been made to the standard partial demolition condition. So just to recap, when you've got a property that's in the TBC, aka Traditional Building Character Overlay, and you're doing accessible partial demolition work, council will include a standard condition. Now this standard condition came about, I don't know, a couple of years ago, a few years ago now. And essentially the purpose of this condition is to stop builders from unknowingly or knowingly going a little bit cray-cray with the partial demolition work on site. So to stop them from just removing extra components without realizing that it technically triggers assessment, or to stop them from going, no one's going to know, I'm just going to remove this extra stuff. It's more cost effective to replace rather than repair. So yeah, council was getting jack of that issue popping up time and time again. They're like, how do we fix this? Let's include a condition in every approval that says, thou must be checked by someone. Now, in the early days when this condition was first being developed, that someone was decided to be an architect. Then it evolved and it became a building design professional with a QBCC license. And it stayed that way, or sorry, I shouldn't say building design professional, I should say a building designer with a QBCC license. And it's kind of sat that way for a rather long time. Now, in the early days, we did sit down with council and go, yo, does it really have to be an architect or a building designer? Could it be a certifier, an engineer, a town planner, let's just say? Like, could it be someone else? And I had this exact situation on my own job. So my building design professional, they weren't going to be in the country when we hit that demolition stage. So I was like, okay, how do I get them to sign off if they're not going to be here? What do I do? Can I go to another building designer? Can I get my certifier to do it? Like, what options have I got here? So yeah, we sat down, and at that point in time, council was like, no, we really do want it to be the architect or the building designer. It can be any architect or building design, not specifically the one that drew the plans, but we really want it to be an architect or a building designer because they understand the plans, how to interpret the plans, how things work together on site, all of that sort of stuff. And I was like, valid point. Like, the reality is us town planners, we can look at pretty pictures, we can kind of make some assessment calls there, but we don't know plans and understand plans to the same level of detail as the building design professionals. So yeah, I get it, kind of got to roll with it. Anyway, this year council has kind of expanded that condition, and they've now kind of, I don't want to say caved to pressure, it's a negative way of saying it, but basically they've included a couple more professionals. We can now get that certification sign off from a certifier or from a structural engineer. So the number of professions that can provide that sign-off has grown, which opens up some new opportunities for people. So yeah, moral of the story, or point I want to get across today, is it no longer needs to be exclusively an architect or a building designer that's signing off. You have two more people that can get involved now, but no matter who you go to, the super duper important point is that you need to have a discussion with them early on to make sure they're happy to do that sign-off process and that they are kept sort of abreast of or aware of your timing on site. So it's not like a case of you get to the point where the demolition work's done and the builder's like, right, I need you to come out tomorrow. We're starting sheeting tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. And the certified, the engineer, whoever it is just like, I'm fully booked, or I'm overseas for 2 weeks. Like, it ain't happening. Sorry, guys. So you got to make sure they're willing to do it and they're informed when the date or the due date's going to fall to, so they can come out on site and do it and all of that sort of stuff. Anyway, that's everything I want to cover off today. As I always like to say, until next time, thanks for watching.
For all you red tape lovers out there, I have one thing to say. Well, no, actually, I've got three. Number one, the advice provided in these videos is general in nature. It's not site-specific. You would be a silly Billy to go and make financial decisions based on this advice without first checking with the town planner. Don't be a silly Billy. Number two, Brisbane Town Planning is in no way linked to Brisbane City Council. The views expressed in these videos are my own, not council's. So if you don't like them, blame me, not council. Number three, what was my number three? Oh yeah, the views expressed in these videos are accurate at the time of recording. If you're watching this video back 10 years from now, the views may not be so accurate. That's all.